I want to welcome you from every location, wherever you have joined us from. We're in for such a treat today because we're going to be hearing stories from around the world from people in Freedom Church whose lives have been changed because of Jesus. I get to hear those stories week in and week out of what God is doing, but we wanted to share them with you. You see, it's not about us going to church, it's about us being the church.
I was born in Hereford and I grew up in a little town called Leominster. I went to church when I was little at a church called New Life, which was actually Pastor Gary and Heather's church then. So we went when I was tiny. I gave my life to Jesus when I was 8 and it was lovely. I really enjoyed it. And then unfortunately we left that church. My parents took us to another one and we went through a few years where we'd go to different churches, and then when I was 14 I heard there was a big event going on where a load of young people were getting baptised at New Life Church. So I went along and I just had this amazing sense of I need to be here. I remember watching these young people, they were on fire for God, they were enjoying worship, they were clapping and having so much fun, and I just thought, wow, I need that, I want a part of that. So I said to my mum and dad, right, I'm going to start going back to New Life, is that okay with you? And they said, yep, that's fine, you're old enough to make your own decision. So I started going and it was amazing. I felt like I was giving everything to God. But there was part of me that didn't quite trust God enough, so I made my own decisions about lots of things, about boyfriends and about going out and drinking and just being like what the world would call a normal teenager.
Basically my life was a bit of a mess before I started coming to Worcester. My relationship with my parents was rubbish, I was rubbish with money. I said I was a Christian, but I wasn't living the life. It's only when I really surrendered to God, that's when things started getting better. So I was very unwise with my money, I was very unwise with my time. There was a lot of negative relationships I was kind of holding on to because I thought that is what I was missing in my life. I was trying to hold my life together.
ហើយបញ្ហាដែលខ្ញុំមានក្នុងជីវិតខ្ញុំវាច្រើនមែនទែនដូចជានៅពេលមួយដែលខ្ញុំមានបញ្ហាគឺបញ្ហាជាមួយនឹងក្រុមគ្រួសារម្ដាយឪពុកខ្ញុំតែងតែឆ្លោះគ្នាដោយសារតែគាត់មិនបានស្គាល់ព្រះអង្គទេហើយខ្ញុំមានបញ្ហាជាមួយនឹងការធ្វើដំណើរទៅរៀនសូត្រគឺខ្ញុំត្រូវចំណាយពេលច្រើនដើម្បីទៅរៀនហើយនឹងត្រឡប់មកវិញហើយខ្ញុំមានបញ្ហាជាមួយនឹងលុយកាក់ខ្ញុំគ្មានថវិកាគ្រប់គ្រាន់ដើម្បីរៀនសូត្រនោះទេនេះគឺជាបញ្ហាដែលខ្ញុំជួបកាលពីខ្ញុំមុនជឿព្រះអង្គ
I was born in a Catholic family, but when I was growing up, I was pursuing things that I thought was not godly things in the Catholic Church. So as a young teenager, I was so demanding. I wanted something new, something better, something loud, But in the Catholic way, we used to humble ourselves, but as a teenager, I wanted something new. So what happened is I got engaged in things I'm not proud of. I got involved in fights, drinking, It was intense for me those days, but not until 4 years ago when a friend of mine invited me to Freedom Church.
Hallo, ik ben Aaron en ik ben getrouwd met Nathalie. Samen hebben we 2 kindjes, Kerita, een dochter en een zoon Elvin. Vroeger waren wij heel vaste thuis, maar een paar jaar geleden zijn we daarmee gestopt, omdat we ons eigenlijk echt wel niet meer goed voelden bij de organisatie. Maar nu een paar maanden geleden kwam ik een paar koppels tegen en die wisten ons te vertellen dat ze net van de Freedom Church kwamen. En de manier waarop dat ze spraken over God en de liefde dat ze hadden voor hem, deed ons eigenlijk echt wel nieuwsgierig maken of worden. Dus hebben wij ook wel de beslissing gemaakt om een keer langs te komen bij Freedom Church. En er staat net een nieuw event, The Full Empty.
We've been coming along to Freedom Church for the last 3 months. I'm a father to 4 stepdaughters and a 3-year-old son. And God has just been amazing to us. He has taken us out of this place where we were, and I think we realised we're really in the desert. We've been going to a local church for the last few years, and we were really struggling with the girls wanting to go. They didn't want to go to church, and miraculously one of the girls, well, 2 of them went to Soul Survivor in the summer, and one of them gave her life to Jesus. And when she came back, she just said, if church was like that, I'd want to go every week.
Everything of freedom for me has been strange, different. Going to a cinema, weird. Watching it on a screen, strange. It's not church that I knew. I was out of church for over 9 years before I returned, and I came to freedom and everything was different. I had to adjust to something new, something different. I had to adapt, but it was a pleasant adaptation for me because it caused me to review, evaluate and change.
Hi everyone, my name is Anne, a social worker at Freedom Heroes. Yeah, in the process of working, we work with street children to rehabilitate them, and in the process of rehabilitation, I was pregnant. Unfortunately, in November, my baby came out prematurely. She was 7 months by then. It was so painful. But I thank God that all my church members stood with me. They were there to encourage me. They were there to pray with me. From time to time, they visited me. It was really amazing.
Hallo, ik ben Chantal van Freedom Brugge. Ik kom hier eigenlijk een getuigenis over zeggen, over wat God in mijn leven heeft gedaan. Over tijd, 2 jaar geleden, kwam er iemand met een cd voor te vragen als ik wilde naar Freedom komen. En ik dacht, ja, ik heb niks te verliezen, dus ik ga er gewoon naartoe. Dus zondag, er was preach en ze vroegen wie weet dus een hand opsteken. En ik dacht, ja, dat is niet echt voor mij, maar ik heb ook niks te verliezen, dus ik heb gewoon mijn hand opgestoken en ik heb met de mensen samen en gebeden voor dat ik tot Jezus mocht komen, tot God. En sindsdien is dat een enorme bevrijding eigenlijk. Er zijn zoveel veranderd op zoveel gebieden. Ik kwam uit een heel slecht huwelijk, waar we geslagen waren en al. En toch, en God mij dat allemaal laten vergeven, want alleen dat zou moet geluk zijn ook.
ចាប់ពីខ្ញុំបានស្គាល់ព្រះយេស៊ូវមកគឺព្រះយេស៊ូវបានកែប្រែជីវិតខ្ញុំខ្លាំងបានកែប្រែជីវិតខ្ញុំខ្លាំងមែនទែនដោយពីមុនមកខ្ញុំជាមនុស្សម្នាក់ដែលគ្មានការទុកចិត្តលើខ្លួនឯងដោយគ្មានជំនឿហើយគ្មានមិត្តភ័ក្តិរកច្រើនទេប៉ុន្តែពេលនេះគឺខ្ញុំបានស្គាល់ប៉ុន្តែពេលនេះព្រះយេស៊ូវបានណែនាំខ្ញុំបានដឹកនាំជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំបានរៀបគំរូផែនការឲ្យខ្ញុំដោយខ្ញុំដើរដោយមានផ្លូវដើរ
Since joining Freedom, I have had a complete identity change in Jesus. Before I used to be shy, insecure. Moving to Freedom, I've completely changed to be confident, brave, outgoing. I've had conversations with uni friends about Jesus. My family, I've been able to talk to them about Jesus. My little brother who's 6 now has a new love for church and now comes to Boomtown and wants to come 900% of the time.
I have 2 boys, Charlie and Sean, and Charlie was very quiet and very withdrawn child until we came to Freedom Church. He's come right out of his shell. He's more outgoing and not so quiet now, and he's also told my parents that he absolutely loves Freedom Church, which is awesome, and he's just started to go to Zeal and he thoroughly loves that as well.
Hi everyone, my name is Kenya Kim. I am 10 years old. I was on the street of Kampala when Freedom Church found me.
I was just, I suppose, living as two people. I'd be like giving it all that at church and then being a normal teenager. And I was challenged about that, and I didn't like being challenged. So I got in a mood, and it was just like, how dare they judge me? How dare they be like this? How dare people, challenge my behaviour? It's like, I can do what I want, thank you very much. So I left and went to a different church, and I remember one person saying to me once, actually a very good pastor that I know said, when you go to a church and you leave in the wrong way, you don't leave that church and go and find another one where everything's fine. You take all that stuff with you. So basically I took a load of offence and a load of issues that were sort of in my heart with me, and I just found that whatever church I went to, I'd, you know, praise God and do all the Christian thing, but actually I was kind of not really living it in my heart.
I started coming to Freedom, I started connecting with people, meeting people. That's when the change started to happen. Through all the different influences and the experiences that other people have had. I realised that, oh gosh, I got to try and make a change. It's only when I really surrendered and I started letting everything go. That, you know, God really come into my life and he started changing things. So I let all the bad friends go, and I started getting new friends that were more wholesome in my life, that were a better influence on me.
ហើយនៅពេលនោះខ្ញុំបានថ្វាយគ្រប់បញ្ហាទាំងអស់នោះទៅក្នុងព្រះអង្គខ្ញុំសម្រេចចិត្តថាខ្ញុំនឹងឯកឋានទៅទ្រង់ខ្ញុំរៀនព្រះគម្ពីរខ្ញុំចំណាយពេលជាមួយនឹងព្រះអង្គនៅពេលនោះព្រះអង្គធ្វើការអស្ចារ្យឲ្យខ្ញុំពិតជាអស្ចារ្យគ្មានអ្វីអាចខ្លែងបាននោះទេនៅពេលនេះបញ្ហាត្រូវបានដោះស្រាយទាំងស្រុងធ្វើឲ្យខ្ញុំមានការងារធ្វើមានផ្ទះមួយនៅដ៏ល្អហើយមានកង់សម្រាប់ធ្វើដំណើរទៅយ៉ាងល្អទៀតនេះគឺជាការអស្ចារ្យដែលព្រះអង្គធ្វើនិងដោះស្រាយបញ្ហានេះក្នុងខ្លួនរបស់ខ្ញុំផ្ទាល់ក្នុងជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំ
When I came to church in the third week, it was a Wednesday night at the Bamboo Hall, actually at the MOOC University. It was so exciting. It was such a good evening for me. It was a turning point for my life. That day was the most powerful day of my life. I came in and Chris was preaching, and after the preach, Chris invited people who would love to recommit themselves to Jesus, and I think I was the first one to put up my hand. And from there and then, my life never went back. My life was not the same.
We hebben direct hartelijk ontvangen bij de mensen. En iedereen wilde weten wie dat we waren. En ze waren echt enthousiast dan weer aanwezig waren. Maar tijdens de event zelf, tijdens de preach en tijdens de liedjes eigenlijk, kwam er zo een warm en intens gevoel over ons. Alhoewel dat groot was in de zaal. Dat we ons echt wel heel goed voelden. Het was eigenlijk als het ware Gods Heilige Geest die over ons kwam. En dat was eigenlijk duidelijk voelbaar. Dus in een korte tijd hebben wij met ons gezin allemaal samen één voor één beslist om Jezus te gaan dienen. We hebben beslist voor Jezus te eren en hem verder te leren kennen.
Michelle, my wife, immediately got on in the internet. She just had a Google and found Freedom Church and it's a local church, and we just kind of came straight down there. And I suppose our intentions were really for the girls to go to a church that they found, you know, lively and relevant and was going to be a blessing to them. And we thought, well, we'll kind of put our, you know, stuff with church on hold and we'll support them through the transition period. And then what we were blown away with when we came to Freedom was really unexpected. You know, as we came up to the entrance for the first time, we were just really given an amazing greeting. We were just, you know, passed from one person to the next throughout the actual building, because we had a 3-year-old son who wanted to, you know, he's got his own needs, he needed to go off somewhere. And the rest of us were just really welcomed in a really lovely, genuine way. I just think God just had, you know, his real finger on us, because since then all the girls want to go to church. Every single Sunday they want to come. They all go to Zeal on a Friday, and they're just the life of God. It's as if God has just breathed that life into them, and he's saying, come on in, I want to share with you, I want to give you all these amazing things.
ជួយសង្គ្រោះខ្ញុំឲ្យផុតពីការភ័យខ្លាចហើយមានមិត្តភ័ក្តិច្រើនជាពិសេសគឺគ្រួសារនៅ Freedom Church ដល់ជាគ្រួសារដ៏ធំមួយដែលរកអ្វីព្រមព្រៀបទៅពុំបានហើយគាត់បានជួយសង្គ្រោះខ្ញុំដែលខ្ញុំមានតែការភ័យខ្លាចហើយវិញ្ញាណអាក្រក់បានដឹកនាំខ្ញុំគាត់បានកញ្ចាប់ពួកវិញ្ញាណអាក្រក់នឹងចាក់ចេញពីខ្ញុំហើយធ្វើឲ្យខ្ញុំជាខ្លាចជាមនុស្សម្នាក់ដ៏រឹងមាំមកដល់សប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃនេះ
The second week, I joined Freedom, Cardiff. I was asked, would I volunteer? And in myself, I said no. But in my spirit, I heard, yes, you will. And I said, okay. I'll just roll with it. And that's been my mantra ever since. Whatever he wants me to do, I'll roll with it. So that's what I do now at Freedom.
They were there for me, they prayed for me, they encouraged me. Up to the day when we laid her body. But they continued to come to visit me, to pray for me.
Mijn hart deed echt zeer en door in de Bijbel te lezen heb ik geleerd dat we moeten gelijken op Jezus en dat wij zoveel goede dingen hebben in ons, maar we vergeten het. Dus door te bidden in feite heb ik geleerd van echt de vergeving aan andere mensen te geven, maar dat was ook maar juist door God. En ondertussen ben ik nu op prepensioen, dus mijn leven is helemaal veranderd eigenlijk. Ik heb ook een vriend voor het moment, waar ik mee ga trouwen. Dus wij hebben alle twee de inzicht voor goede dingen te doen, samen met God, niet alleen, maar God die maakt ons ook heel anders. Dus wij kunnen dat niet alleen, dus dat is altijd plezant van dat te vragen en ervoor te bidden en een inzicht te vragen. Ondertussen ben ik ook volunteer hier in Freedom. Dus ik zet me de zondag in, omdat mensen ook dat gevraagd hebben. En omdat ik dat ook wil doordragen aan iedereen die in de kerk komt.
There were loads of different events. Ended up coming back to Hereford through quite a tough time in 2013 and came back to Freedom, which was now called Freedom. One morning, it was the 29th of September 2013, and had that same feeling of being in the church. It was like God was shouting at me, like, but quietly, if that makes sense, like, this is where you need to be. I didn't understand it, but I just knew I had to be there. And at the time, you know, I had, from the world's point of view, a really successful life. I had a great career, really high paid job in a very prestigious area of the country, and from the world's point of view, I was doing fantastic. So why would I want to give up a nice city job and move to a little town in Hereford? But that's what I did, because I just knew that I needed to. So I came back to Hereford, and with no idea what was going to happen. But the amazing thing is that the Freedom family, and that's what it is, there's a family of people just got around me and made me feel so welcome. And life was really hard at that point because I'd given up everything that was my security, and I've never been with such genuine, loving, caring people. People will come up to me and be like, right, we're going to walk through you with this, we're going to stand by you. And I realised that I'd had all these offences from all these years and I needed to lay that all down.
So my arrogance was taken. I was a very arrogant person, not a very pleasant person. It was all about, you know, just showing what a big man I was. I wasn't a man, I was a little boy. And it's only when this change kind of happened, when I fully surrendered. It's only when this change happened, it's when that arrogance was turned into confidence, and that can only come from God, if you know what I mean. Just a confidence and just a love that I was filled with for other people, instead of trying to impress these people, just showing them love, the love that God showed me, showing them that love.
I enjoyed staying around Freedom Church. It is the best place I've ever stayed in, the best family I've ever hung. And actually, what is the best part of it is I'm a leader here at Freedom Church, and I'm so thankful for the leadership Lord God has pressed in my life. I didn't know I could do this. Actually, God has been so good to me. You know, I've got this passion, this word fire in me that explodes over and over.
Wat is er nu veranderd in ons leven sinds Freedom Church? Dat we de kracht en de liefde voelen van God over ons neerdalen. Als we bidden, voelen we echt de kracht, voelen we Gods hele geest over ons komen. Ook als koppel zijn wij dichter tot elkaar gegroeid door opzoeking, door de Bijbel, door Freedom Church eigenlijk. Ook zien we dat de kindjes veel enthousiaster geworden zijn. Ze zijn veel meer open gegroeid. In school spreken ze erover tegen hun vriendjes en kameraadjes. Mijn dochter is nu ook volunteer geworden.
Yeah, his generosity to us as a family has just been great. He's inspired. Well, Michelle and I have been praying for the last couple of years about where we're going to. Well, we just felt some unrest inside of us, and we know that we wanted to move. We now know that place is in Hereford, and God has reminded us of a fresh passion to bless people through a certain ministry, and I think that is now starting to come to fruition. So we're houses on the market where we live. We're about to move to Hereford, and we're going to start fulfilling that purpose that God has given to us.
What Freedom has done for me has brought me out. Instead of sitting at the back, it's brought me forward, volunteering, and caused me to stop being so inward looking and hiding, and brought me forward, challenged me, changed me, made me get involved where I'd never get involved before.
And now I feel that I'm relieved, I'm happy, because I didn't go through it alone, but I went through it with my church members. I really thank God for that.
ថ្ងៃមួយខ្ញុំមានរឿងវិបត្តិដ៏ធំមួយដែលខ្ញុំមិនអាចដោះស្រាយបានហើយខ្ញុំក៏បានអធិដ្ឋានទៅព្រះហើយព្រះក៏បានផ្ដល់ចម្លើយដ៏អស្ចារ្យមកលើរូបខ្ញុំវិញតែម្ដងឥឡូវនេះខ្ញុំគឺជា volunteer មួយនៅក្នុង Kids Team ហើយខ្ញុំចង់ឃើញក្មេងៗហើយខ្ញុំនឹងខិតខំបង្រៀនក្មេងៗឲ្យមានការផ្លាស់ប្ដូរជីវិតរបស់គេហើយនឹងព្រះយេស៊ូវនឹងជួយសង្គ្រោះពួកគេដូចជារូបខ្ញុំនេះ
Sometimes in life you think that you've got the best, and I was giving up the best job and I was giving up the best place to live, but actually that's a shadow in comparison to what God can do in my life. And I know that I'm in the right place. There's no other place that I'd rather be, and I can see throughout my life God's been trying to pull me back here because this is the church He wants me with my roots in. And for whatever church that might be for anybody, it's so important to have your roots somewhere, and for me it's Freedom Church. For me, I know that wherever I am, if I'm rooted in with this family, then God can achieve anything through us. So I'm just really excited about that and really looking forward to the future.
Gewoon steek je hand op, doe gewoon, moet je niet schamen. Iedereen van ons hier is eigenlijk vroeger verdwaald om een of andere reden. En nu komen we zijn allemaal samen, we zijn broeders en zusters en we geloven. En wij maken de kerk eigenlijk allemaal samen.
Since I've been coming to Freedom Worcester, he's given me a terrific relationship with a terrific girl that's been coming here. And you know, just my life has just done a flip. It's just done a flip upside down.
Ik voel dat God iets gestart is in ons, dat hij iets van plan is met ons. Dus we zijn er vol verlangen naar uit wat dat 2015 heeft voor ons en ons gezin.
And I got school and the food to eat. I have hope now. I thank God for Freedom Heroes.
And I just really want to quote this one thing that every one of our girls has said: I love my church.
ទាំងអស់នេះហើយគឺជាការអស្ចារ្យដែលព្រះយេស៊ូវបានធ្វើក្នុងជីវិតរបស់ខ្ញុំហើយខ្ញុំនឹងយកវាទៅចែកចាយហើយនឹងប៉ះពាល់ទឹកចិត្តរបស់មនុស្សដែលគេមិនបានស្គាល់ព្រះយេស៊ូវ
I know there is a lot in store for me. This is just a beginning. The best is yet to come.
Do you know what? Every story matters to God. When you heard those stories today of life change, of people being impacted, it all came through the local church, because we believe at Freedom Church that the local church is the hope of the world. And I'll tell you what, when you hear those stories, when people say, I found hope, there's something in me that it just stirs me and excites me and says, do you know what? This is what we're building. This is what it's about. We have seen Jesus change so many people. You can argue with sort of beliefs and thoughts and religion, but do you know what? It's very hard to argue with life change.